All That Jazz is a semi-autobiographical film from 1979 by acclaimed choreographer and director Bob Fosse. It follows a fictional version of Fosse named Joe Gideon, played by Roy Scheider, during a hectic time in his life in which he was completing the editing of a film as well as the choreography of a huge new musical. The stress of these projects combined with Gideon's smoking habits caused him to suffer a heart attack and forego open heart surgery. In real life, Fosse survived this surgery, while in the film, Gideon dies. The heart attack is what inspired Fosse to make this film.
I was in the hospital myself and had been ill.
You had a heart attack, and you was
I had a heart attack and open heart surgery. And I became very interested in death and hospital behavior and the meaning of life and death and those kinds of subjects.
Not only is editing an important factor in the story, it is also an important factor in how Fosse explores the themes of life and death. This film was made in a time when Hollywood films began to be edited faster. According to David Bordwell, the pace accelerated in the 1970s. Then about 3/4 of films had average shot lengths between 5 and 8 seconds. And we find a significant number of still faster ones. As we'd expect, action films tended to be edited more briskly than other types, but musicals, dramas, romances, and comedies didn't necessarily favor long takes. This quicker editing can be seen in All That Jazz. Rapid cuts are used to form enthralling musical numbers as well as what editor Alan Heim calls Showtime folk scenes. These are recurring scenes that show Gideon's daily morning routine. They all feature classical music and quick cuts showing off morning activities. In a 2014 interview with the Criterion Collection, Heim says, "Bob shot Showtime folk scenes in a way that they became more and more grotesque. The first one he's smoking a cigarette in the shower. It's funny. But by the end of it, it's not funny anymore." As the scenes continue throughout the film, different editing techniques such as slow motion and quicker cuts are used to help highlight the monotony of life as well as the loneliness and lack of motivation Gideon is feeling on those days. One of the best Showtime folk scenes we see is this one.
Showtime, folks. Showtime.
This clip shows off the intercutting between a smoking-induced coughing fit and his morning ritual. The way the camera captures Gideon alone in this large frame shows how lonely he is, and to have this cut with his daily routine only shows how empty his life really is. This technique of intercutting is utilized greatly within the film. The entire film, in fact, is intercut with Gideon talking to an angel about these events happening within the last days of his life. The important thing I take away from these scenes is how comfortable Gideon seems with the angel, ready for death. Throughout the film, he seems unmotivated with life. This loss of ambition is only highlighted when we see the melancholy conversations with the angel.
And you say it all the time.
I say it a lot. A lot.
When?
When it works. You know I love you, Katie, but I think you have to do what's best for you.
And of course, if the main character is talking with an angel, there is an obvious conclusion to be made. These scenes are in fact foreshadowing his death, but they are not the only ones. This is the last bit I would like to highlight, and it takes place pretty early within the film.
How did you know the note was to you?
No, that's not me, man. No. No, not somebody else maybe, but not me.
This clip, while quick, shows Gideon on his deathbed. This quick cut shows what awaits Gideon and is only another example of how editing is used to highlight the themes of life and death. Every cut in this film is intentional, and you can tell Fosse and Heim were careful and thoughtful when crafting this movie and made sure the editing reflected the themes of the film.